Welcome to Inspiring Possible. I'm Christy Pennison, former stuck person turned therapist and dream consultant. Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, uncertain, or just need a little inspiration? Then I want to help you gain the clarity, confidence, and courage to create possibilities and live a life you love. Because folks, life's too short to be miserable. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode. Gosh, I can't believe that we are now into November. It's kind of wild to me. Like every time we get towards the end of the year, I'm like, how did we get here? And then I also at the same time, simultaneously forget like everything that happened in the year. Does that happen to you? If so, let me know because I hope I'm not the only one. But I'm really excited to come to you over the next several episodes. We're going to be doing some solo episodes. And I'm just going to share a little bit about what's kind of been on my heart, on my mind, some of the things that I've been doing behind the scenes that will hopefully support you as we get towards the end of this year. Now, guys, remember a year is just a frame of reference of points of time on a calendar. It helps us kind of understand that there might be a start and a stop to something, and then it restarts again. But the truth is, no matter where you are in the year, you can always recommit to something, re envision something, or just take some time for pausing. And actually, that's the season that I'm in right now. I feel like every time I get to the end of the year, I don't know if I pause on purpose or pause because the fact is that I am tired. But this year, I actually feel like I'm pausing on purpose. And that feels really good to me. And that hasn't been the case. I feel like if you would have asked me last year where I've been, it'd been like pause for necessity, like you are teetering on the edge. You better stop right now. But it's been incredible that since a year ago, where I was really teetering on burnout in my life and in a lot of areas, how it's come full circle. And I haven't completely I'm not like saying that I'm in Zen Yoda mode right now, but I have really been trying to be intentional over the past month for sure, maybe past several months to give myself permission to slow down. And we've talked about slowing down here. It's something that kind of resurfaces, whether it be with the guests that we're talking with or when I'm coming on here. But I really want for you in this season or whatever season you are in, you may not be in the slow down season, but I hope you give yourself the gift of slowing down along the way. And so in the next 3 episodes, we are going to be talking about really 3 different things. And we're going to call it the 3 P's of possible. And that is ponder, pause, and pursue. And we hopefully through the next 3 times that I come in here in these solo episodes, it will help you create space for clarity, vision, and what the next step is for you and whatever thing that you're pursuing. But first, a message from our sponsors. No, I'm just kidding. If I was to put a sponsor here, I'd probably say, and now it's time for the power of pondering, because that is what we're going to talk about today. And this is the reason why this is such top of mind for me. I just went to a leadership retreat probably about a month ago, and I was going to be meeting with other entrepreneurs that reside in the state of Louisiana. And what they do is they pick business owners that might have participated in some Louisiana economic development mentorship stuff. They really help you a lot. Or I have to brag on our state for a minute. They really do have some great resources. So one of these resources is a leadership retreat, and they partner with the Edward Lowe Foundation, which if you don't know about them, that is even cooler story. Mr. Ed Lowe was like one of the first people that ever created this thing called kitty litter. You may have used it before if you have a little cat, and I do have a few cats. I have 2. Shout out to Piper and Cricket. And, you may have heard of the kitty litter that then became Tidy Cat. And if you use Tidy Cat, then you might know Edward Lowe. Okay, but Edward Lowe created this business that I think obviously it met a need. People were having a hard time, especially in the winter with their cats. and trying to find things that wouldn't make a mess everywhere when they were having to be indoors in the winter. And thus came this clay substance that we now all know as kitty litter. And one of the things that Ed Lowe did that was surprising, and I'm going to draw it full circle to this leadership retreat, is he really created some time towards the end of his life with pondering. And he really was intentional about trying to figure out, how can I create a legacy? And what is the thing that I want to really impart to people? And one of the things he was really passionate about is entrepreneurship. I think it was because he realized that small business owners or just entrepreneurs in general, people that start off with these crazy ideas and somehow make it to come into life, really needed a space to be supportive and to figure out how to do this dream creation in a way. And your dream might not be to start a business, but I'm using this as a point of reference, is that he was able to think far enough into the future that said, how can this live past me? And then how can I support individuals that are trying to figure out this journey of creation? And thus, the Edward Lowe Foundation was born, and it is this beautiful property. I mean, not only is it a foundation, but they have a beautiful property associated with this foundation in Michigan. That's in middle of nowhere, Michigan. And it's just a place where you can escape and really be able to get around like-minded individuals, which is another important note there for building a dream. So this leadership retreat, I got to go. Now, I've actually had the privilege of being able to go to the Edward Lowe Foundation property before. And I remember it being very refreshing for me, energizing for me. And then it's just in nature. And so the space out there is beautiful. And so when I was there, they got all of us little Louisiana entrepreneurs that said, yes, I want to go learn how to be a better leader in a group. And, number one, it's amazing when you have the opportunity to connect with people with shared vision or goals, because it's like you don't even have to give context. You just meet them, you start from where it is, and you're like, oh, you're building something too? That's great. But the second thing I love about this that is applicable for all of us is that they encouraged us to get some moments of stillness. Now, I don't know if you've ever been in a group with a bunch of visioners that have visions, CEOs or owners. They like to talk. Most of us, we like get around people that kind of like want to talk about this stuff, and then we're like, ooh, let's all talk. But they said, okay, guys, we need y'all to be quiet. We're about to go do some pondering. Okay, is what they call it, pondering, and we're going to go over here, this different part of the property, and y'all all need to be quiet and not talk with each other for an hour. Now, you would have thought that you just gave us all this like life sentence. Like, oh my gosh, I can't talk for an hour. But let me tell you how incredible this was. Like, and this is hard for me. Obviously, I have a podcast and you listen to it. Thank you. And guess what I get to do on here? Talk. So if I didn't talk, there wouldn't be a podcast, right? But being able to get into forced stillness is a true gift. And forced silence in a lot of ways. I mean, of course, we got to choose. Do you want to participate? Do you not? But even that initial resistance to like, oh, I'm going to have to sit with myself. They did give us some worksheets with some questions on them that just had pretty much blanks. It like had a prompt and then you had to fill it out. Whenever I got into the mode of stillness by sitting on a rock under this beautiful tree where the sunlight was just peering in through the trees, there was this shift as my mind began to settle. And some of the questions that were on this worksheet were pretty profound. And one of them, I legit started crying because the guided question that it asked was, if I had 6 months to live, what would I need to do, want to do, and not waste time doing? And it is amazing how one question can cut through the noise and reveal what's really essential in your life. And I remember there were some things that I put that I'm like, oh, I really need to do this because if I'm about to be, 6 feet under the ground, I need these things to be finalized because I don't want to leave people with this undone. There was also some things that really surprised me. And what came up is I want to do. And there was really some interesting things, that stuff that I would not waste time doing. But I actually read that part of the question a little bit different. Like, what do I not want to waste any more time and I want to do this thing? So it was interesting how that came up for me too. But just pondering those things really brought some clarity about what do I need to be focused on in this season of my life. And so our culture rarely gives us time to pause. We move fast, react constantly, and equate busyness with purpose. What I want to encourage you today is, how can you slow down? Maybe even noticing how clarity often comes after the pause, not during it. What is different? And I encourage you to ask yourself that question that was on that sheet of mine. If I had 6 months to live, what would I need to do, want to do, and not waste time doing? Because what I've found is, when I give myself permission to slow down, to give myself some moments of quiet. And you might be like, Christy, you don't know my life. I don't know when I'm going to have some moments of silence. Guys, I'm going to tell you now, you have time. I'm sure you've watched something on TV in the past week, or I'm sure you've had a moment where you might have hit that snooze button and you could have woken up 20 minutes early. And this is no judgment, shame, nothing like this, because I get it. Life's okay. But almost forcing yourself, like, on the calendar, like, I'm going to go be still, and I'm going to be silent, and I'm going to ponder. It's going to be uncomfortable at first, but pondering is like a form of inner listening. And it's something that we have to sometimes relearn how to do. If you think about it, growing up, I don't know about you, but there were times I was by myself, not like literally by myself, like there's probably an adult somewhere, but like I had to create and imagine, and sometimes not have all these devices. Now, that is a difference in today's world. There is devices, folks, all over. And it's hard for us to get settled in to that stillness, because there's always this technology that can distract. But when you are able to ponder and get quiet, there are things that are going to surface. There was a goal that I had that I've been kind of not having a lot of urgency around, but it's been something that's been on my heart to do. So when I was in this quiet, it kind of just kept on coming up. Like, Christy, you need to do that thing before, time runs out, in a way. But also, it became more apparent that it was important for me to complete that. Because we need that time to reflect. Who are the people in my life? Sometimes this pondering helps me realize, oh, shakaka, I have not talked to so and so in a while, and I need to give them a call. Or maybe I need to plan something with that friend of mine, because, these people are important to me. And if I'm reflecting that I'd want to spend time with these people, if I had 6 months to live, I better be reaching out to them and being intentional about that. It could be a dream that has just sat on the shelf, and you're like, no, now I ponder. I feel like this is what's being called to me. And I'm not saying it happens automatically. I'm not saying in an hour of this silent reflection in this beautiful, naturist area, sitting on this rock. I even had an ant fall on my paper. I was like, hey, little auntie, and it kept on walking off. Okay. But it doesn't mean that it's going to come to you then. So I want to also create some clear expectations around this, right? And it doesn't have to be tidy. It doesn't have to, you don't have to walk away with this light bulb moment. But pondering helped me, and it continues to help me clarify what my idea of winning is at life, or success, or what it means to have made it. Because and it's not so much as growth for growth's sake. At least for me, I've really identified it's more about meaning and impact. How can I create space in my life to do things that create meaning and impact? And as an achiever, how do I let myself be like, it's okay if that don't get met, but it's something I might still strive for. And so what I want for you, and I'm going to encourage for you this week, is if you can practice pondering. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is schedule just 30 minutes this week with no input. I know this is going to be hard, folks. I know it's going to be hard. No phone, no music, no multitasking. No, you don't have to go in nature if you're not a nature lover, but you can sit still in a room, but make sure there is no distractions. And just ask yourself, what has been feeling heavy or unsettled lately? Or what have I been avoiding thinking about? And let the answers come without folks, judgment. Or it could be, what is something that's been on my heart that I really am feeling called to in this season? Or you don't even have to have a question. You can sit there with, I always say, with a piece of pen and paper, because something's going to come to your brain. You might even actually want to ponder by writing. I have found that pondering by writing helps me tremendously because I have a very scattered mind. And even my writing will be very scattered. But it's interesting to see what comes up, what's on my heart, what I am feeling unsettled about, because we move through so fast through a day that we don't even realize like why we might be anxious or why we might be sad or why this thing is making us uncomfortable. But if we sit long enough with it, we get that clarity that helps us know what to do next. And so sometimes the most productive thing we can do is stop long enough to ask the right question. And asking the right question is hard, folks, because sometimes we can keep on asking ourselves questions, but it might not be the right one. And so we got to give ourselves that space to really figure out, what is it that I'm trying to uncover about myself in this season? What do I need more of? What do I need less of? We recently actually just did this exercise because it was so profound to me. Every year we take our team at the Be Inspired. If y'all didn't know, one of my main gigs is Be Inspired Counseling and Consulting, and really passionate about the work that we do in our community to support people with mental health challenges or just life challenges in general. And so every year, to support the team, we do a retreat. And this year we did a little different. We didn't do a weekend, or we used to do like an overnight trip, and that was really fun. But this year we said, okay, let's do a day trip. And I wrote some questions down exactly like, because it was so profound experience to me to give to team members and allow them to have that also, that silent reflection. And for some, they came up with some clarity on things that they didn't realize was a win. They didn't realize that this was something that I need to be okay with in the season, but like that power of pause can really be helpful. And it also can then actually lend itself to some really interesting conversations that you can have, especially with people in your life that you love. Let's say you're in a partnership, or you're in a marriage, or you're in a relationship, or you even have a child. I mean, all these kind of important relationships in your life. We don't always know how to articulate conversations that we need to have with the people that we love most. But this pondering can sometimes help us figure out, where do we need to start? And what is the heart behind what we're trying to say? And so just pause, give yourself that permission this week, friend, because in the next episode, we're going to step outside, literally, and talk about how nature can help us keep listening. Because you already have all the resources within you that you need. This is something that we don't always realize because we think, oh, I don't know that, or I don't know this. But what is so incredibly powerful is through this pondering, sometimes you may not exactly have the answer, but there could be clarity about where to ask for the help that you need next, or who to go to. But again, we got to give ourselves the space. So no matter where you are or what you're doing, I encourage you this week to get yourself some space. 30 minutes. If 30 minutes is too much, go to 15. If 15 minutes is much, start with 10. But allow yourself to really lean in and to figure out what is most important to you in this season. Until next time, friends, y'all have a great rest of your week.
That's all for today on Inspiring Possible. If you found a little inspiration today, please go on over to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you tune in to listen to leave us a comment and rate us. Also, make sure and link up with me at inspiringpossible.com to get the free Dream It, Write It, Do It workbook. And don't forget to follow us on social media and share this with anyone who needs to be inspired. Remember, If you can believe it, it's possible.